the 8th Assembly has been fraught with various challenges when it comes to budgets, from the budget padding controversy now to an allegedly missing budget document. Well, the Senator Goje's camp says the documents taken from his house have been returned, and the Senate leader actually said this evening that they'd meet up with the deadline of the passage of the 2017 budget. But from the looks of things, is it actually right that Senator Goje kept a sensitive document such as that in his home?
Well, what I hear is in his computer and his laptop, and they took away some documents. I would expect, because of the urgency and trying to get the budget passed within the deadline of May 5th, all hands should be on deck to ensure that happens. Now, but I think there's a bigger picture. I think the picture is not just whether he had documents in his house or whether it was taken from his home. I think it has to do with the power of search. Every Nigerian is subject to search, as long as the laws that necessitate that give effect to serve as rightly obeyed, and because the Police Act is quite clear on who can be searched. Now, how does that dovetail into affecting the patches of the budget? I don't see it. That's my challenge. And truly speaking, Senator Goje should not be the only one that have the copy. If you have the committee, every other senator should have a copy of those documents in the process. So that in itself should not really derail the timeline under which they're giving the judgment, which in my view should have been way past before now, considering the fact that the country really cannot run without a budget.
When the senator comes out to say the 2017 budget passage might be delayed because my laptop was carried away and I had the document there, and he obviously might not or should not be the only one who has a copy of that document, what does it suggest? Some people have different things to say, all boiling down to the relationship between the executive and the legislature. How does this pan out?
Well, when I hear you say how it pans out, obviously there have been very major challenges in the relationship between the executive and the legislature since this legislative, or rather this democracy under President Buhari emerged. There have been challenges on a lot of challenges on how things pass. But if you ask me, that is good for our democracy. If there were rubber stamps of everything the executive did, then that might lead to tyranny. So it's good that they have these challenges, and everybody just trying to stay on his corner and play his card. If you want the budget passed, then perhaps you should not be arresting me and searching my houses. But that's just not the bottom line. The bottom line is this. You can't truly say that because they took possession of things within your purview, that will affect the entire country, affect the budget being passed. For me, that couldn't pass. There can't be a serious argument in that regard.
Mr. Abdullahi, several other questions are also being raised, considering the fact that the confirmation of Ibrahim Magu, the EFCC or the acting EFCC chair, was affected by certain documents that he said to have been in possession of. Now, Senator Goje took the budget document home. Doesn't there seem to be some sort of clash of interest here? You lay one person out on the slab because he had sensitive documents, and then you turn around and you say, oh, I have this another set of sensitive documents in my possession.
Well, thank you, Emmanuel. Actually, you're quite right. Actually, it's like the case of he who goes to equity should actually go with clean hands, or he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. When the Senate itself rejected Magu, one of those reasons were that he kept documents relating to his work at home, was one of the reasons actually they based their rejection on confirmation of Mr. Magu. Now, here is one of them having documents actually telling them he has documents relating to his present work, not only his present work, to his even former work when he was governor of Gombe State. There was document relating to that still found in his residence, in his private home. I mean, so that should even call the attention of the Senate to actually institute its ethics committee to look into this confession made by Senator Goje and to find out if that has breached any of their non-laws or even ethics or morals here. And let me tell you something. You see, this is one of the problems that the Senate this particular Senate is facing, you see, of bad image among Nigerians, and they are trying to really cure that defect in the eyes of Nigerians, and they are not doing enough to cure that defect, because if they can reject Magu based on one of the reasons, based on this reason, taking working materials back to home, then why will they not even blink an eye when a fellow senator confessed to having documents, working documents in his house? And I think they owe Magu maybe an apology here, or they should call him for a reconfirmation, or at least if they can't actually consider Magu now that one of them has done one of the things they accused Magu of doing, then at least they should show some serious sanctions to Senator Goji. And that's why one of the things that happened to Senator Indume is not good. When someone raised an alarm that this thing is happening, is not right for our institution as a Senate, as a body, then they will go ahead and suspend such a person. Now nobody will stand up in that Senate and call the attention of that particular institution to this kind of breach, because they may end up suspending that particular senator.
Mr. Kwede, the issue of public perception of the national, not just the Senate now, the National Assembly sticks up like a sore thumb. How and in what direction should the Senate be looking at, and the National Assembly as a whole be looking at, to launder its image or to clean up its image? Because Nigerians seem to have lost faith in this 8th Assembly, or some degree of faith.
The National Assembly started in what I would say some time of crisis. If you remember, the leadership tussle that brought in the current leadership in the National Assembly was not without its own rancor. And from then, it's been a slippery pill, constantly one fight over the other, and over open appointments and confirmation of hearings of various appointees of Mr. President. And so, truly speaking, it's been one fight, constantly one too much. In my view, if you represent the people, then you must have the confidence of the people that you are there to do what they want. They voted you to do for them. And so those have been the challenges. After a while, perception becomes reality. If you say something too often, because if the witch cried last night and the child died the following morning, then there must be a correlation as to who killed the child. You cannot constantly have things being said that are bad lies about your institution and not do anything about it. I think it behoves of the Senate and indeed the National Assembly to look inward and see how they can do some house cleansing and cleaning to give a better perception of how the public sees of them. Right now, it's at its lowest ebb, and I think that they can do something better than they have. And I think they have an ability to work right. Now, let me go back to what my good learned friend Louis said a few minutes ago. The situation of between Magu and Goje are totally different, so we don't leave it at totally. Magu left an office and was actually taken out of the office when they found documents in his possession which he didn't return. This is totally different from Senator Goje, who is currently working on a position bill and the documents on his computers. If you totally think he should do the work conducted and meet the 5th of May deadline, then obviously there's nothing wrong with him having those documents as you were. If there are no laws internally within the Senate which ask that, until we hear that Senate IT committee says something you can't put documents at home, then truly speaking, it's a story of an apple and an orange is totally different between Magu and his.
All right, Ms. Abdullahi, I'd like to take you in a few minutes. So let me take your final thoughts ahead of the May 5th deadline for the passage of the 2017 budget.
Well, I think one thing is clear that a lot of people, our leaders, they like to say they are patriotic, but then the word patriotism is not really fully understood by many. I mean, you must always, I can understand the way an organization or an institution like a Senate, for example, would like to protect its own. But then we must always put the interests of the country first. So, and here, the passage of the budget is the most important for the country. I mean, we have to have a working document, something that the executive can actually move, to actualize their promises, the promises they made to Nigerians with. So, I mean, that means, making Nigeria first. That's what called patriotism, not shielding one of our own or trying to blackmail the executive because we want to protect someone from either investigation or prosecution. That shouldn't work for an institution like the Senate, who are representatives of the people. Patriotism is the word to really watch out here. All
right, thank you very much, Mr. Abdullahi Aliyu, legal practitioner, and Mr. Dafe Akpede, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for joining us on the program. And that's our show for today. Many thanks for being part of it. I'm Emana Amawe. Bye for now.